Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting a like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Buckets of Drawings from the Relationships subreddit and says, me 36 male with my 42 female of 2 years. I suspect she's up to some shenanigans. I gotta say before we get started, I do love that word shenanigans. It's just such a great word. I've dated this lovely lady for about 2 years and she's meant the world to me. We've been two peas in a pod and I adore her completely. We've always had our week and weekend plans committed because we tend to travel quite a bit. So having these plans cemented is an important detail due to the arrangements I make for an outing. Well, several months ago she cancelled on me for a weekend trip. It was sudden and caught me off guard, but life happens. She decided to go to a party with her friends. No big deal, and I told her I would pick her up at whatever time she called. I wished her a good time and counted on hearing at the end of the night. The end of the night comes, and instead of a come pick up my drunk self, I got an I'm going to stay the night with my friend here. I was fine with this and said to rest up and have a nice night. When we finally meet up again a week later, something was off. My spider sense was tingling, and she was looking everywhere but at my face while we were having dinner. I asked her if she was feeling okay or if there was something I could help with, and she said no, that she just wants to go home. Something was clearly bothering her, but it was a secret, and nothing I could say or do was going to let that secret out. Over the next several weeks, more plans of ours were cancelled and were replaced with her going to her friends to hang out for drinks. I actually tried to invite myself along to one of these excursions, but she insisted that I was going to be bored and to find something else to keep myself occupied. This puts me on full alert. It bothered me quite a bit because this had been happening often lately. I don't know what the next level of having a spider sense tingle is, but I was definitely on that next level. A week or so later, she bails on our plans again for our Saturday. She tells me she's hanging out with her drinking friend at the farmer's market and maybe her and I can get together later that night. Well, shucks. It takes me 10 minutes to get to the market, and I decide I should put on my investigation hat and see what's going on. I do not tell her I'm on my way. Upon arrival to the market, I look around and I can't find this girl. I look everywhere. I send her a message saying, "Hey, I happen to be at the market too. Where are you?" My phone blows up with all kinds of questions. Where did you park? What direction are you in? What shop are you by? I gave her the details and 10 minutes later, she's standing in front of me with perfume on. She never wears perfume. I asked her where her friends are as it'd be good to say hi, and she tells me that her friends all left to get lunch. My question, dear Reddit, is how do I get to the bottom of this? What do I ask her? Am I imagining things or is something up? Am I reading things that aren't there? TLDR, what is this girl up to? How do I get her to spill the beans? Now, as you said, your spider senses are tingling and there's probably a good reason for that with everything that's going on. The cancelled plans, the shifty eye contact at dinner, being actively uninvited from a group hangout. There's a pattern forming, isn't there? And then shows up at the farmer's market and she takes 10 minutes to materialize with perfume on. Perfume that apparently she never wears. And conveniently, all of her friends just left. Sure, they evaporated. Classic friend behavior, right? And I know this is awful for OP at the moment, but I gotta say, I do love the way he writes. When he says stuff like, I decided I should put my investigation hat on. Usually when people sort of say that stuff, I like pictures just pop in my head all the time, and I think of Columbo instantly is usually my first go-to, but more recently it seems to be Mr. X from Resident Evil. I don't know why, it's just the hat I think. Anyway, I'm talking shit as usual. Blader Dash says, keep listening to your gut. Straight up ask her. There's someone else, isn't there? Let me guess, you pay for all the travel. Opie says, I think I'm going to straight up ask her what's happening. I'm leery of being dodged though. I'm not sure how this might apply, but I'm going to be honest in an effort to garner the best advice. We are in very different income brackets. I help her out in many ways as I can. I do pay for all of our travel and outings because there are many things we want to see in the world, and she doesn't have the means to afford this. To me, spending time together is more important to me than the money. Evelyn Garnett says, quoting about inviting himself along to these excursions and being told no, then says, why that's so damn magnanimous of her. Maybe next time she tries to block you, you should assure her you couldn't possibly be bored, as it's the only shot you get to hang out with your girlfriend anymore. I bet she dodges the issue in even more amazing ways after that, so your, tarantula tingle is onto something. Opie says I actually did try this tactic once on her, and honestly, she did dodge it in a more creative way. I was chalking it up to circumstance. She changed plans on me on Friday to go to a wine tasting party. I thought that sounded fun, but was informed it was a girls-only club. I didn't think about that till now, though. Xavier says, seems to me like the only thing you need right now is some motivation to talk to her. So go do exactly that. Demand answers. Even if she's not cheating, the fact that she's been cancelling all your plans is really shitty and should be discussed. Opie says, yes, I will try to confront her directly. She hasn't yet replied to my messages of us getting some dinner and chatting. So at some point, Opie does come in with her update and says, first off, I want to say thanks to the advice everyone had given. There are a few thoughts that had resonated that I appreciated. Secondly, get your popcorn. This can be good. .jpeg.gif. I know we all like a good story, and this is somewhat therapeutic for me. This all happened a few days ago, and it took me a bit to digest everything. Quite a bit of advice was around direct confrontation and asking her what the heck was going on. After numerous ignored phone calls and text messages, she finally decided to pick up her phone. She apologized and said her phone died and she didn't realize it until it was too late. I started in right away with that she had previously sent me a message nonchalantly that she just wasn't feeling it between us. After that message, we talked and she said she was just feeling stressed and was taking it out on me. Understandable, stress happens. So my next question was this. Your friend has told me that you are seeing someone else. What's going on? Do you want to break up? Her answer, what? Who said that? Oh my god, who said that? Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of all these rumors about me. Who said that? She went on like this for quite a while. What struck me was she was more concerned about someone ratting her out than the accusations. She assured me over and over that no, she did not want to break up, and then started making me feel awful that I would make these statements towards her. Didn't I know how she felt about me? That I was saying this made her feel like I didn't trust her. I suddenly felt like the worst person in the world. She also pleaded with me to give up who it was that said this, but I wasn't budging on that. In the end, she said she was having an emotional, stressful day and just wanted to relax and we would talk later, maybe over the weekend. After taking in the advice from here, I felt like she was misdirecting. That's a bit of a bloody understatement. Alright Mark, less of the sass, son, come on now. I sat there in a mix of feeling like something was amiss and feeling awful that I just accused my beautiful girlfriend of cheating on me. I felt terrible. I sat for a bit feeling like I just put this huge crack in our relationship. I love her to pieces. I needed to go apologize. I hopped in my car and drove the hour to her city and decided to get her a quart of her favorite chocolate ice cream on my way there. When I stopped into the shop to pick up this treat, I run right smack into her daughter hanging out with her boyfriend. They are both in college, doing night classes and just got out of school and wanted a treat. We were chit-chatting and she was going to be staying at her boyfriend's for the night, but forgot one of her workbooks and needed to stop at the house real quick to pick it up. After chatting, the daughter's boyfriend took off and we both drove up to my girlfriend's house. I pulled into the street because they have a sign parking at a unit. Her daughter actually pulled up behind me instead of her own spot, and when we got out I said, "What's up? Neighbor took your spot again," as we walked up to the door. "No, that's not my neighbor's car." I don't know if it's the way she said it or her sigh afterwards or what, but suddenly it felt like my heart just sank. I knew what we were going to find, but I was hoping for anything but that. Her daughter and I both shuffled through the door and stopped immediately in the entryway. We could just hear them. There's no mistaking it. You know the sound. Bro, rhythmic thumping and moaning with little exclamations of pleasure. The bedroom was right across from us. Her daughter looked at me with her eyes as big as saucers and just goes, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." At this moment, it felt like I was living outside my body. It's hard to explain, but suddenly, it was like I was just a person watching actions happen. I couldn't really feel anything and I didn't know what to do. Here I am, standing there with a quart of ice cream while my girlfriend is getting railed in her bedroom. I had no idea how to proceed. My whole body just felt like I couldn't control it. Her daughter suddenly just screamed, "Mum, what the fuck?" That sounds like a cross between a banshee wail and a fire truck siren. My girlfriend actually ran out of the bedroom. naked and all, possibly thinking there was some emergency. Maybe motherly instincts that something bad just happened. I don't know. She started to formulate words but fell silent as soon as she saw the two of us standing there. Eventually a stream of words fell out of her mouth. "Oh my god, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. What are you doing here?" She kept repeating it over and over until she ran back into the bedroom. I still stood there, shocked, still having an out-of-body experience. I don't know how much time passed. Seconds or hours, it blurs. She came out clothed in her pajamas and was talking to whoever it was on the other side of the bedroom door. My girlfriend, ex now, started yelling at her daughter and I about why we were in the house. I think the realization of everything was suddenly starting to hit her because she started crying and making unintelligible noises. Her daughter starts to scream at her about, "How could you do this? And you did it again!" At this point, I'd seen enough. I couldn't even look at her anymore. Everything was numb and my ears felt like they were ringing. My body still wasn't my own. I walked over to her kitchen table and put down the ice cream saying, "I know you get hungry after sex, so here's some ice cream," and walked out the door. She started sobbing, "No," but I just kept walking and drove home. That was a few days ago. I didn't go to work the next day. My phone is blown up. I've not replied. For your reading pleasure, here are some of my favorite messages. If we had spent more time together, it wouldn't have happened. Next one, "It doesn't mean anything. You know that I love you." Next one, "If you cared anything about us or our relationship, you would talk to me." Next one, "Are you ignoring me?" Next one, "Please." And I have lots of pleases. Next one, "If you cared, we would be able to work this out." It goes on and on. Right now, I still feel kinda numb. I just don't understand how or why this happened. I gave this girl and her family so much and my all, and it didn't even matter. I provided for them when times were tough and did so much to make our lives good. I know I shouldn't feel this way, but I feel like I don't mean anything or that I can't make someone happy now. It's frustrating. I know I'll get over it in time, but it definitely hurts. I don't understand why or how this could happen. We were so good too. So many questions I want to ask her, but I'm forcing myself to not have contact with her and just going to move on. In retrospect, I wish I kept the ice cream. Absolutely too bloody true. Liger Zero says, quoting, "You did it again." Yeah, I saw that as well. And then says, "God, those words from her daughter tell you everything you need to know. Stay strong, man. If you can, block her number so you're not tempted to reply. And if not, just maintain no contact." Opie says, "Yeah, I kind of really want to talk with her ex-husband. The few times we've met, he always looked like he wanted to tell me something but held back. I imagine this is why he is the ex-husband." Pick says, "I feel really bad for the daughter. She sounds sweet despite growing up with a terrible role model. Best of luck processing everything. I'm terribly sorry to hear whatever happened to you. At least this can close this chapter of your life and soon you can start a new one and find someone who treats you wonderfully. No contact, gym, Facebook, blah blah, etc." Opie replies saying her daughter is a good person and knows full well the kind of commitment I had to her family. It's frustrating because I feel like the actions of one punishes everyone. And one more comment who says no contact. You might drop the daughter a text saying that you bear her no hard feelings. Opie says yes, I will eventually send the daughter a message, but have a sneaking suspicion she understands. She's a good girl too. It's a shame. I don't think there's much to say about OP's situation. I think he's got a handle blocking her and just keeping her out of his life because that's absolutely the way forward. I was really frustrated with the gaslighting in the first part of the story. You know, he was going round to her house to grovel. He brought ice cream for her to grovel and then basically found out all of this afterwards. And OP at the end there mentions basically the collateral damage, the daughter. The comment, "You did it again," tells you that she's been here before, probably more than once, probably multiple times, right? And now she's lost someone who seems like a stable and decent person in her life as well, which I just find incredibly sad and brutal. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, one quick trigger warning before we do get into this story. There is attempted suicide within the story. I haven't read it as yet, so I'm not sure how that's going to come about. So if you do want to skip the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and longer timeline below. Thank you. This one's from Program 22, who says, "Female 23. I was going to talk to my boyfriend, male 28, about his suspicious behavior, but a tragedy in the family intercepted. At a loss on what to do next. This is a really difficult situation, and I've never been in anything remotely close to it. I've been dating my boyfriend for about 3 months, not very long. Things were going great and we get along well. We've had a few disagreements, but we're still getting to know each other. The issue. One day we were lying in bed and behind my back, literally, he took my phone and put my password in. I noticed the fumbling, so I turned around. He said he was posting something funny to one of my social media profiles. Seemed immature, if true, and sketchy if it wasn't. A few minutes later I took his phone to do the same, as it was only fair. As soon as I picked it up, he swiped it from me and stood in front of me deleting things off it. I couldn't see the screen, but it was obvious by his hand movements. He stood there for 10 minutes deleting things and gave me his phone. He said I could do whatever. I asked him if he thought I was that much of an idiot, and he claimed he was setting a new lock code. I was pretty hurt by him doing that. What was he trying to hide? So I left. He eventually admitted he was deleting old news that he was embarrassed he still had on his phone. He apologized quite a few times and he seemed sorry. We talked about it with his roommates and they didn't seem to think he was not to be trusted, just a bit of an idiot for dealing with it that way. To clarify, I would never have cared if he had old nudes, as everyone has a past. Fast forward to about a week ago. A pic of my ex comes up on his social media feed. He has a mutual friend with my ex but has never met him. He went to like the picture because of our friend in it, and I told him not to because my ex is very petty and will probably start something. He asked me to show him another picture of my ex to see what he looked like out of curiosity. I asked him to show me his most recent ex. It was a hookup, not a relationship, and he showed me her profile. While showing me her profile, he tells me that she was really upset when she found out he was in a relationship with me. He said that she sent him nudes and he told her to stop. Then she blocked him for texting her and told him this on Snapchat. Well, 2 nights ago, I looked at her profile. I just felt something was off. And I saw that in the past week he had liked 3 of her selfies. None of her other pictures, just the selfies. Now normally I wouldn't care about something so petty. But this is a girl that is trying to break up our relationship. To me, liking her photos is giving her attention and leads me to believe they still talk or that she still sends him pictures. Explains the phone incident. I'm very insecure when it comes to these types of scenarios because the same thing happened in my last relationship and it killed me. Every time he went on his phone, I wondered what he was doing. And the kicker of all this is that when I send him pictures of myself, he barely responds. I want to trust him, but I don't see why he would need to interact with a girl who is trying to break us up. That really hurts me. The aftermath. So I needed some space from him the next morning and didn't reply to his text. I was very busy at work and didn't feel like talking. I was wondering how I'd bring up this conversation and what I was even looking for as an outcome. By 5, he asked me what was up and why I wasn't talkative. Before I even saw this text, he called me 3 times. By the 4th call, I answered and he was sobbing. He told me his younger brother had attempted suicide, in a very graphic way that I cannot enclose here, and was in critical condition. They didn't know if he'd survived. I rushed to meet him so we could go to the hospital, and since then it's been a whirlwind of emotions. I feel awful for ignoring him that day because he thought something had happened to me too. When he first saw me, he kept asking why I was mad and what he did wrong. I told him it's not anything worth talking about and that all my focus was on him and what was going on. I've tried to be there for him every step of the way. I haven't been talking. I usually talk a lot. I've just been waiting for him to and listening. I've been trying to do little things like making food or clean around his apartment so he won't have to worry about it. He's been sick. The day he found out, he passed out twice. It's hard seeing him that way. It was also really hard to see his parents, whom I've only met once, at such a terrible time. He's been very appreciative of my support and keeps saying he doesn't deserve me and that he cares about me so much. In the waiting room at the hospital, he asked his parents if they thought I was great and he kept thanking me for coming with him. I know that my head definitely isn't on straight right now, but I'm still bothered that my thought of him being sketchy with his phone and that girl. I'm obviously not going to bring it up now, but I don't know an appropriate time to. Part of me feels like it would have broken us up had I brought it up when I was going to. Part of me wants to try and make the relationship work. Part of me feels resentful that I've gone above and beyond for this relationship and he still keeps in contact with someone who's trying to break us up. But regardless of any of these misplaced feelings, I want to help him the best I can. How can I help him and try to let go of my own hurt feelings for now? I have been, but it's taking a toll on me. When is an appropriate time to bring up my feelings, if at all? I know that this time is 100% about him, and I want to be there for him in whatever way I can. This post is getting long, so I'll leave it at that. But I'm sure this is spotty and confusing, so I can elaborate on whatever you want. One of the top comments says, don't kick him when he's down, but lay low and keep an eye on him. If he reaches out for the X for support, walk away. Opie says, I just don't know how to tell. I don't want to snoop. I hate feeling the need to do that, especially this early in the relationship. Hunting says, snoop, and don't feel bad about it. You feel the need because of his questionable actions. You need to protect yourself. You can be there for him now, but be careful. His behavior sounds very suspicious. Opie says, I definitely am trying to protect myself right now. I'm treating it as though I would treat a friend going through it, and backing off in the relationship sense. So it was 6 days later that Opie came in with her first update, and said, so I took your advice and put it on the back burner for now and focused on him. He's doing better dealing with everything, and his brother is conscious and well. He took me out for dinner a few days after and was being super polite, opening doors, pulling out my chair. He just seemed different. He was very sentimental and told me he was so happy I was by his side through all of it, and that I make him a better person, etc. He also said he didn't want to use his phone as much because it distracts him from reality, so he deleted all social media. I felt so relieved that he did this without me bringing it up. It was a perfect evening. Until, not even 2 days later, when he downloaded everything back to his phone and resumed. He went to the hospital last night and we talked on the phone after. He hasn't said really anything about his brother, so I tried to leave it alone. I decided to check the girl's Instagram last night and she had posted another selfie which he had liked again. I feel so let down. He's coming over tonight, so I'm going to talk to him about it. I can't keep it bottled in any longer. I'm in such a terrible mood. I hate feeling like I can't trust anyone. So then 3 days after that previous update, Opie came in with another update and says, I talked with him tonight. It was almost a 2-hour conversation. After I described the situation and told him why it bothered me, I made the mistake of waiting for some sort of explanation which never came. First he said that he didn't even realize he was liking her pictures. Then he said that he likes his friend's pictures and that he couldn't see the big deal. Friend? A girl who sent you nudes and tried to get you to cheat certainly isn't a friend. He then said he hasn't texted her or interacted with her at all in months, and that he doesn't see how liking a picture is interacting. Except she posted several pictures over the week and he only likes her selfies. He then said that it isn't like he's interacting with a bad person who does malicious things. I told him what she did certainly qualifies as malicious. He said she was just a weird girl. He said I was overreacting and he didn't like that I was researching his internet activity since he's a private person. He said I was analyzing everything too much. He apologized and said many times that he would never cheat on me. I told him I couldn't trust him after these incidents and that I would have rather actually heard a reason as to why it was going on than him playing dumb and saying he didn't think it was wrong, unless he's truly that oblivious. I brought up the phone incident and he said he was only deleting old pictures. I told him the whole scenario didn't make sense to me since he could have said what he was doing but instead chose to stand in front of me for 10 minutes and lie that he was deleting things. His plan, he said he realizes now it was wrong and he should have blocked her from the beginning, but that maybe he was subconsciously trying to keep her around. He said that he would never cheat on me about 1,000 times and told me I could ask any of his friends, etc. He told me he was deleting his accounts, not just the apps from his phone because it's too distracting from him and also because of the situation. Says he will do anything to win my trust back. Well, I said I appreciated that. We talked about a few other things. Ultimately, I told him I didn't know where the relationship was headed and that I didn't want to be in one where I felt paranoid all the time, especially this early on. I was still upset that he seemed to be playing dumb the whole time, so I left in a hurry and haven't talked to him. I probably went about a lot of this the wrong way, but many emotions were boiling. And we have another update in a moment, but Galactica Actual says just 2 observations. Your boyfriend is a liar, and he really sucks at it. I mean, you're not really thinking of staying in this crap fest. Opie says, yeah, I didn't want to try and keep pushing it, but I knew he was lying and called him out on it, but he kept defending himself. Not sure if I'm really going to stay. Ninja Cherry says, well, I'd be really mad if my SO thought that I was stupid enough to buy this crap. He is not oblivious to his actions. His excuses are really insulting. Opie says, that's the part that really grinds my gears. He thinks I'm dumb enough to buy these lies or half-truths. So then it was a month after that update that Opie came in again and says, I didn't take Reddit's advice and break up with him after he apologized. However, the relationship started to deteriorate in many ways outside of the lack of trust. He wasn't financially responsible. He never took me out on dates. He acted immature in so many ways. We weren't communicating. I would tell him about my day and he would say, that's nice, but never have an actual response that indicated he cared. There were dozens of issues, and the more I brought them up, the worse they would get. So the time had definitely come. At first he was angry at me and was going to break up with me. He said that I victimized him by bringing up issues and arguing. I told him I never once raised my voice and they weren't arguments until he was on the defensive side and refused to listen. Then he admitted he felt like an arsehole and wanted to work on our problems. I told him no, but he didn't take me seriously. I called him the next day to finalize it and he said he didn't need to be in a relationship and that he wasn't codependent. Never said he was. I thought we would end on decent terms, but he said he was pissed at me. We had a vacation planned for May to another part of the country. I paid for both tickets and he paid me back. I asked him what we would do about the trip and he said that he was definitely going and that if I was even considering going that I would have to change my plane seat. So disrespectful, considering I bought the tickets and planned the trip. I'd rather lose out on $250 than deal with a child. I could tell I wasn't going to be considerate much longer, so I wanted to say goodbye. I did let him know that I had things at his house that I needed. One was a library book. I asked him if he could either bring it to the library or mail it to me since I'm sure neither of us want to see each other. He said he would put it in a mailbox and that they would get it to the library. I couldn't contain myself anymore, so I chuckled and said that I didn't even care at this point. Oh, and the kicker is, less than an hour after we broke up, he posted on his Twitter about using Tinder again. I feel sorry for the next girl. All in all, I seem to have dodged a bullet. Commenter says, he sounds like a child who just wants to hurt you in any way he can. Ignore him. Opie replied saying, yeah, he's admitted many times that he can't take any form of criticism, so I'm not sure why I thought a breakup would be any different. He's just a very selfish person. The last week we were together, he brought us to IKEA to pick up a dresser for him and a bed frame for me. His dresser was out of stock, so he threw a huge fit and said we should leave and what a waste of a trip it was. Meanwhile, I'm standing with a cart holding my bed frame. Then he actually had the audacity to say that I'm ungrateful because he drove me there. He would have gone either way and it's a 20-minute drive, even though I thanked him. Very irrational person. Commenter replies saying he sounds like a child. I'm betting he has a string of short relationships in the past. Opie says, yeah, he told me his last girlfriend of 3 months broke up with him because she was sick of his shit. But he said that she was selfish and not willing to support him when he was in a time of need. Sure. And his girlfriend before that was very passive. They dated for about a year and a half, and then she ended it with a list of things she hated about him and the relationship. Pretty cruel to blindside someone when you're pretending to be happy with them, but hey, I can identify with her frustration. One of the comments below this did make me chuckle. He said, date a clown and you get a circus and a front row seat to the show. Bloody hell, absolute bullet dodged in the end. But it took a while to get there, right? But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up.